Good. Welcome to our next lesson. There's an activity from the PowerPoints you can have a go at and answers. Right, today we're going to talk about numbers in terms of factors. So prime numbers, composite numbers, what they are, and factors and how that works out. This is the second lesson in our sequence. And you can see we're up to where that star is, lesson 2, week 2 factors. Okay. So prime numbers and composite numbers, what's the difference? A prime number is a counting number, so like a whole number, a normal number, not a decimal or a fraction or anything, that has exactly two factors, itself and 1. That means you can only multiply 1 times that number to get that number. So I've got some examples here. So example, the number 3, the only way to make up 3 is 3 times 1. So itself times 1. That's what we mean by a prime number. So 3 is a prime number because its only factors are 3 and 1. 2 is the only even prime number. It's such a small one. Its only factors are 2 and 1. Okay. All right. Composite number has more than 2 factors. Okay. So for example, in our second dot point here, the number 4 is a composite number because it has these factors, 1, 2, and 4. We can make up 4 from 1 times 4. We can make it up from 2 times 2. So the only numbers I've written down in that little list were the number 1, the number 2, and the number 4. And that's why they're written there. Number 1's a special number. It's not really prime or composite because it really only has one factor, 1. Or it's just 1 times 1. So it's the only special one. Okay, so when we find factors, when you're asked to find factors, you start at 1 times numbers and work up, and you stop when you've reached a number that you've already used. So what do I mean by that? So the factors of 12, you start at number 1. 1 times itself is always going to work, 1 times 12. After 1 comes the number 2. So I write down 2 next. 2 times what equals 12? 2 times 6. And this is just coming straight from your times tables. After 2 comes 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Now, the next number in my list would be 4. But we've already used 4 here. So that's what this second dot point means. Stop when you reach a number you've already used because you know you've got them all. And the last line I've got here is where I've just written those numbers out in order. The factors of 12 with a nice little colon there. And then they're listed across there in numerical order. Let's try another one. Factors of 15. We start at 1. 1 times 15. 2 times nothing works. No, 2 times nothing, no whole number. 2 times 7.5 equals 15, but we want whole numbers. We don't want halves or anything like that. So it doesn't work. So basically there's no need to write that line down. After 2 comes 3. 3 times 5, that works, equals 15. After 3 comes 4. But once again, 4 times nothing equals 15. Doesn't work. After 4 comes 5. We've already used 5, so we can stop. Okay, we write out our numbers. We wrote down a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 15. And there are those numbers there. That's all there is to it. There's a little interactive thing that you can have a go at. If you're in a classroom or something, you'll need some headphones so you're not disturbing others. Have a go at that one. All right, there's some work examples that you can have a look at from the textbook. I won't go through them just now. All right, questions like this worked example here. Determine which of the numbers are divisible by each of the following. Are they divisible by 3, 4, 5, or 6? Now I've included this little table here that comes from the text. All right, so a number is divisible by 3 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. Okay, so let's have a look at our first one, 75. 7 plus 5 is 12. Is 12 divisible by 3? Yep, 3 will go into 12 4 times. So 75 is divisible by 3. And that's how you work through these ones. Okay, is a number divisible by 5? Is the last digit a 0 or a 5? Yep, so he is divisible by 5. This one, no. That's a 0 or a 5, so he's divisible by 5. This one, no. And you can see how we go with this. Okay. All right. Multiples. Multiples are just ways of basically writing out like a times table. And we refer to the lowest common multiple of two numbers. And working it out helps us out when we're trying to work with fractions and other parts of mathematics. So it says here, find the lowest common multiple of the following sets of numbers by first listing multiples. And the numbers we're given are 4 and 6. So basically when we start this, we're going to start writing out times tables. So the multiples of 4 times. So basically 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, and so on. I'm just writing out the times tables. So, write the first few multiples. So here we've written the multiples of 4, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and so on. Here we've written the multiples of 6. 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18, 6 times 4, and so on. And all you've got to do is identify which number is the lowest number that is in both of those lists. We can see that 24 is in both of those lists, but it's not the lowest one that's in common between the two lists. Number 12 is the lowest number that's in common. And we write a statement like this at the end. Okay, lowest common multiple of 4 and 6 is 12. This sort of writing that's written here in blue is the kind of working that you need to have in your books. Highest common factor. Kind of similar, but we're coming from a different angle. We're looking at factors now, like I worked out factors before, which is the highest one that's in common between two numbers. And like it says in my question here, first listing the factors of each number. So we went through before how to work out factors, and we've listed the factors of 12 here and the factors of 18. Do it just like I showed you earlier in the video. Now we're looking for the highest common factor, so we're looking for the biggest number that's in common between these two. And we've circled all the numbers that are in common, but this one is in common and it's the biggest number that's in common, so we write out this statement at the bottom. Highest common factor of 12 and 18 is 6, and there's your answer. All right, where do we go from here? We're going to have a look at exercises 2.1 and 2.2, have a go at these questions in both of them, and your teacher will direct you from there. Thanks a lot.